Good evening to the dreamers, the romantics, and the silent observers of the human heart. Welcome back to Whatever You Need, the only sanctuary in the digital world where we look past the flashbulbs to find the soul of the story. Tonight, we are not discussing a script, a scandal, or a red carpet fashion moment. We are discussing a night that was designed for perfection but destined for history. We are taking you inside the exclusive, velvet-roped world of Istanbul's elite to witness a birthday celebration that began with champagne and ended with a silence so loud it shook the industry. We are talking about Hazal Kaya, Çağatay Ulusoy, and the encounter that no one predicted but everyone felt. Before we step into that glittering venue and decode the language of their silence, please ensure you are subscribed to our channel. Press the like button if you value storytelling that honors the depth of emotion, and for those who wish to support the architecture of these narratives directly, we warmly invite you to click the join button. Your membership is the pillar that holds up this platform. Now, let us open the heavy doors to the party of the year. The evening had all the trappings of a masterpiece. It was a birthday celebration etched onto Istanbul's social calendar weeks in advance, a night destined for champagne smiles, designer hemlines, and carefully curated playlists that pulsed with the rhythm of the city. The invitations, elegant and mysterious, had found their way into the hands of the city's movers and shakers, actors, producers, stylists, and the inner circle of friends who protect the stars from the world. Each card was a promise that Hazal's night would be remembered for its beauty, its lightness, and its joy. Yet, as the guests arrived and the venue filled with the scent of expensive perfume and hand-cut flowers, no one predicted the twist that would turn that beauty into an unforgettable hush. The true surprise wasn't the decor or the impeccable lighting. It was a presence that began to gather charge in the air long before he even stepped inside. A question fluttered from ear to ear, a rumor that refused to stay quiet, passing through the room like a secret current. Is Çağatay coming? It didn't take long for that whisper to solidify into the moment of the night. The heavy doors opened and with them, a ripple spread through the room that was almost physical. Conversations thinned out, laughter softened into silence, and for a heartbeat, the entire venue seemed to exhale. Every gaze, drawn by an invisible magnetic force, moved toward the man who had once shared a cinematic world with Hazal, a man fans still believe understands a part of her no one else can touch. His entrance was not flashy, it didn't need to be. Çağatay Ulusoy wore understated elegance like a second skin, the kind of attire that speaks to restraint, purpose, and deep respect. From the gentle sheen of his jacket to the tempered confidence in his walk, everything about him announced that he had not come to steal the spotlight, but neither would he disappear into it. He was there, solid and real, a figure from the past stepping boldly into the present. Hazal, radiant and magnetic, was the axis around which the night revolved. Her dress seemed poured from moonlight, her hair effortless yet precise, her smile gracious and measured as she navigated her duties as the hostess. And then, as fate always insists in moments like these, they saw each other. Shock did not split the evening in two, instead, it faded quickly, like a sharp gasp, replaced by a quiet recognition that only history can write. She did not stumble or flinch. She remained the consummate professional, accepting gifts, greeting friends, and posing for photos. But those who can read the language of silence noticed it, the way the air seemed to tremble when their eyes found each other across the sea of guests. It was as if the past hadn't returned to haunt the party, but to be acknowledged, to be offered a chair and a glass of water, if only for one night. From that point forward, the party transformed into a delicate ballet of distance and proximity. He kept to the perimeter at first, exchanging polite nods, deflecting attention with his trademark courtesy, careful not to linger too close to the center where the cameras loved her most. She kept moving through the room with practiced warmth, hyper-aware of his presence without ever orbiting it directly. Photographers leaned in, lenses zooming, searching for the frame that would break the internet, the hug, the handshake, the confrontation. But no easy photograph presented itself. Not yet. Their restraint, if anything, spoke louder than 1,000 handholds. It was a dance of respect, a mutual agreement to protect the sanctity of the night from the voracious appetite of the gossip columns. Then came the moment of ritual. The cake appeared like a sunrise in the dim room. Lights lowered, a chorus of voices rose in song, and the cameras formed a halo around Hazal as the candles flickered against her face. Somewhere in the circle of applause, hidden in the shadows of the crowd, he was there, clapping, smiling in that small, contained way of his that looks almost like gratitude. And then came a sliver of truth, barely visible to anyone who wasn't paying close attention. She didn't look directly at him in that moment. As she scanned the room, thanking her guests with her eyes, there was a graceful sidestep of the gaze when she reached his sector. It was a confession without words. Not rejection. Not quite pain. Something closer to honoring the tenderness of a scar. It was the realization that to look at him fully might be to acknowledge too much in a room full of strangers. We must pause here to analyze this specific gesture. The sidestep of the gaze. Have you ever avoided looking at someone you care about in a crowd, simply because the connection is too strong for a public setting? Is avoidance a sign of indifference, or is it actually the highest form of respect for a past bond? We want to hear your psychological analysis in the comments below. And remember, if you want to support independent, high-quality storytelling, the join button is the best way to do so. Music surged, glasses clinked, and the DJ rediscovered the pulse of the evening. And yet, every melody seemed to rest on a fragile thread. At one point, a song drifted into the room, one of those tracks that fans still claim belongs to them, a melody tied to their shared on-screen legacy. A few eagle-eyed guests swear they saw it, the accidental glance, the half-smile shared across the dance floor, and the immediate retreat into safety. Perhaps it meant nothing. Perhaps it meant everything. That is how stories like this keep breathing, even when the night expects you to simply keep dancing. They were remembering a past that belonged to them, or perhaps they were remembering a story the public had written on their behalf. Either way, the room felt it. A boundary was being respected, even as another, invisible one was being tested. Then came the moment everyone is now whispering about in production offices across Istanbul. Toward the end of the night, as guests began to trickle out with goodie bags and glitter on their shoes, Hazal and Çağatay found a brief corner of quiet. There were no cameras, no stylists, no managers hovering like ever-watchful satellites. Just a shadowed edge of the venue where two people with a shared past could let the noise fall away. No one knows precisely what was said in those fleeting minutes. Maybe it was simple. Maybe it was an apology, or a thank you, or a careful birthday wish threaded with memories of years gone by. Some witnesses say their voices were calm, their expressions composed. Others insist they saw that flicker in their eyes, the one you cannot fake, the spark of profound familiarity. And then, as quickly as it opened, the moment closed. He left alone, slipping into the night with steady steps, offering no detours, no after-parties, no public statements. When the lights came up, what remained on Hazal's face spoke in quiet chapters. Joy for the night itself, for the friends and toasts and glittering speeches. But also reflection, a looking inward that doesn't seek validation from a camera lens. The morning after, her message on social media was brief and deliberate. Carefully chosen words that glided over the surface while letting the depths remain uncharted, a new phase, new intentions, and what still lingers in my heart. She didn't mention him. She didn't need to. Meanwhile, his accounts went still for the day, and silence did what it always does in this industry. It became the loudest sound of all. Was this encounter orchestrated or accidental? That question threaded itself through every brunch table in town the next day. Sources close to both insist that the invitation to him was real, that he considered it more than once before deciding to appear. Some whisper that mutual friends served as gentle bridges, believing that a face-to-face moment was overdue, whether it ended in closure or in the first step towards something new. Others maintain that she did not expect to see him, that the flicker of surprise in her eyes was not performance but raw truth. By sunrise, the internet was already threading theories. Some insisted the reunion was proof of a thaw, a hint that old misunderstandings were melting into cautious warmth. Others said it was a farewell, a dignified nod to what had been, a moment designed not to rekindle, but to finally let the pages turn. But from the small observations, a fuller picture emerges. He avoided the photo op that would have defined the night. She skipped the look that would have set the room ablaze. They chose civility over spectacle, soft dialogue over rumors. No statements have been made, the silence remains intact. But that very silence feels intentional, like two people refusing to let the noise of the world decide their narrative. They met in the middle of the crowd, acknowledged the weight of their history, and then walked forward, separately but perhaps a little lighter than before. Thank you for joining us for this exclusive look inside the night the music stopped. This has been a special presentation by Whatever You Need. If this story of elegance and emotional restraint moved you, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And once again, for those who want to be part of our inner circle, the join button is waiting for you. Until next time, remember, sometimes the most important conversations happen without a single word. Goodbye.